DramaCityProductions.com.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA-related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
You could cut the electricity with a knife. We are at capacity here tonight with the fans packed to the rafters for the premiere event of our sport, Wrestling Wednesday, brought to you by the Podcast Wrestling Society. I'm your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and the man who makes the fans go bananas. I am Troy Adams, and joining me today is the man who proves what happens when the irresistible force meets the immovable object. He is the Bobby the Brain Heenan to my Gorilla Monsoon. Give it up for Greg. What up, Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah? Really?
Trying to keep it cool this week.
I do this whole...
Also, you caught me in the middle of drinking something.
Lame. I do this whole long Gorilla Monsoon intro for you.
In my defense, I was loving it, and I didn't have something to say at the end.
See,
it was really good, though.
See, I was hoping that your response would be something like, you'd make a joke or whatever, and I'd be able to go, would you stop it? You know, continue the Gorilla Monsoonism. Oh, well. Anyway.
I fumbled that one. I'll get us back on this one. I'll get us back.
Yeah, well, you know we're going to get back on track when we go to the land of extreme for ECW later on.
In 1995.
Oh, well, that's the best ECW.
That's the best wrestling.
Absolutely, across the board, which is why we're covering it. So, yay!
I thought we were doing it because we secretly hated our listeners.
No, we love our listeners, which is why
then why do we keep doing this to them?
Because they voted for it, Greg. The people have spoken.
You're right. Screw them. We're doing it.
Right, yeah, but hey, if they ask for it, then we're not responsible, okay? I washed my hands of this. It's like, this is up to you all. Either way, as far as news goes this week, I'll say I don't know about you, but it seemed like a big week as far as like a couple stories, but as far as like amount of stories, it's a little slow. And the funny thing was, I sent you a picture. It's not really a story, but it's just, we've talked about this guy, and you've buried his ass I don't know how many times. Ben Askren. Did you see?
Yeah, the most boring fighter on the planet. Well,
apparently Khabib...
At least top 3.
Well, apparently Khabib Nurmagomedov said something to him, or one of his team members said something about him or whatever. I don't know what it was. Do you know?
Yeah, I think it was Artem Lebev. I think.
I don't know what he said about him exactly. Did he like?
He got him fired up, I guess, and he's like, "Oh, I'll fight you later in the year." I'm like, dude, that would be the quickest fight of your career.
Yeah.
You would put him down, and like, I give it 90 seconds.
Yeah, because Ben.
That's only because Askren can run like nobody's business.
Well, Ben Askren tweeted, "Just heard what @Team Khabib said. He will find his levels when he can't get off his back, and I am big brothering him." Whatever that means. We'll fight him he clearly didn't spell check here. Okay, I will fight him for 165-pound title in October/November of this year. What makes him think he's earned a shot at the title?
Let's back up. First of all, he's not a champion yet. Okay?
Yeah.
Second, Khabib has the 155 title. Okay?
There's just so much wrong with this.
He's thinking he thinks he's gonna beat Robbie Lawler next month. That's laughable in its own right.
Yeah.
I think Lawler's gonna knock the hell out of him, and then he thinks he's gonna go and I guess beat, let's say for now, Tyron Woodley, who would probably knock the hell out of him.
Or at the very least, take him down. At the very least, he'll take him down and hump him.
Yeah. Well, he's not gonna be able to with Woodley because Woodley's a wrestler.
No, I'm saying Woodley would do that to him.
Oh yeah, that would be a whole ground and pound hump fight. Yeah, totally. Or ground and hump. Sorry.
Oh man,
this guy's off his gourd. The only reason he's finally in the UFC is because of a stupid trade.
Yeah. Let's trade.
Dana White for years said he'll never be in the UFC because he's the most boring fighter on the planet.
Well, dude, that's acting like Dana White's word means a thing. Okay.
Yeah, but still,
he's proven that his word means jack. Like, you can't trust a word.
Well, this is the one I was with him on, though.
Well, yeah, but just, like, anything that comes out of that man's mouth, you can't believe it. It's nothing. They used to say this about Paul Heyman. I guess they still do. But with Dana White, I'll say the same thing. It's like, you couldn't believe him if his tongue was notarized. So, sorry to all of you Dana White supporters out there, if there are any listening, but seriously, like, you can't believe a word that comes out of that man's mouth. He said there would never be women fighting in the UFC, and then, boom, he's got multiple divisions now. He said this, boom. He said that, the thing with Conor McGregor was the most embarrassing thing in the history of the sport, and yet he showed it multiple times in a build-up promo to the fight between him and Khabib. Like, good lord.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that more later. There's kind of a big story about that we'll get into. But with all of that, just as a heads up, we will be covering, what are the events we're covering? We're covering ECW's November to Remember, WWF Survivor Series 95, and WCW World War III 95, which is the very first World War III. So, yay!
Some classic gems.
Oh yeah, we'll get into why here later. But here before we get,
let me tell you why now. 1995. Bam, done.
Yeah, there you go. But before we get into the news, because like I said, there are a couple of news stories I wanted to talk about. Let's take this time to tell you all about, let's do some shilling here for the podcast before we get into everything. First, I want to tell you about WrestlingWithWrestling.com, where there's other great podcasts beside this one, but we are definitely on there, along with our YouTube videos that we post frequently on there as well. And there's results from wrestling organizations across the world, besides just here in America, so you can keep up with any wrestling organization you can possibly think of, and even the indie feds from here and abroad. There are interviews, there are videos of matches, there's a ton of great content at WrestlingWithWrestling.com covering all four corners of the ring. I also want to direct you to DramaCityProductions.com. That is our network there, where we have been a part of Drama City Productions for quite some time now. It is updated on our page. If you go to DramaCityProductions.com/PodResSociety, like the social media handle, you can see all of our latest episodes, all the way dating back to episode 1, actually. And besides keeping up with that, there are the links for our Redbubble and SpreadShirt stores, where you can get some awesome swag for the podcast. There's various logos, dedication logos, where we're paying homage to some of our favorite wrestling memories and whatnot. There are also some joke t-shirts with some great sayings on it. And it's not just t-shirts. There's hats, there's hoodies, there's ball caps, there's bags, there are phone cases, whatever you want, stickers, buttons. There's a ton of different merchandise you can get if you go to DramaCityProductions.com/PodResSociety. Check out some other pages while you're there as well. But definitely go there and go to our SpreadShirt and Redbubble stores, where we have dirt cheap prices for amazing merch. All right. Now, are you ready to dive into some news, Greg?
Head first.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Match on. All right. The first story here. These first two stories, Kyle and I gave our opinions on, because he wanted to talk about his opinions a little bit. If you go to our YouTube page, which we are growing with subscribers literally every single day, it's awesome. But if you go to our YouTube page and check out our, yes, thank you all, our NXT TakeOver Phoenix review, the very beginning of the video, we talk about these first two stories here. But I want to get your take on it because we haven't talked about it on the podcast. Hideo Itami has been granted his release, I guess, and he is officially leaving WWE, going back to Japan.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I don't know. I just feel like nothing ever happened for him there, so...
It is, I mean, yeah, that's true, but, and that...
I don't want this to sound bad. It's like, there's nothing to miss at this point, so...
I know. But it's so sad because when he first came in, do you remember all the fanfare around him?
I do.
And they just built it up like this is like a huge signing, and really it was. It was a huge signing. He was outside of New Japan. He was like one of the biggest stars in all of that entire country. So, and he was like the guy for Pro Wrestling Noah for a long time, and WWE signed him, which I thought was just shocking. He came in with a lot of momentum. They got hurt, came back, got hurt again. I don't know. And then he got shipped off to 205 Live and did absolutely nothing. Sad. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember being in Barclays for Brooklyn, Takeover Brooklyn 2. When he came out, man, that popped loud. And when he hit the GTS, the place like damn near exploded.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was a big thing. And then
I thought that was the start of it, you know?
Yeah. And then he ended up injuring Brian Kendrick on a freak accident with it, and they never let him do it again.
Yeah.
So that kind of killed that whole thing. But whatever. Because the whole thing there for a while when he was doing it, when they finally let him start doing it, was he would hit it and then he would make sure he let everybody know, my move. I invented it. This is my move. So, I don't know. It just fizzled out really quickly, just like everything about his WWE run. But he wasn't able to do it because Daniel Bryan was using the running knee. He wasn't able to do that. He wasn't able to do the GTS for a little while. And I don't know. His whole run was snake bit from go. It was sad.
Yeah. Some of it was his fault. Some of it wasn't.
Yeah. But, and apparently he legit, at least from what I saw of him when I was on the airplane with him, going to WrestleMania in New Orleans, he does not hardly speak any English whatsoever. So, yeah, it's, cause like they had to like interpret for him when cause, the carry-on, like the storage was full, so they had to store his bag, and like somebody had to interpret for him just to get him to understand, hey, he needs your bag. You'll get it back. So I don't know. But either way, that's that. The big one, though, that everybody's talking about, I want to get your opinion on this. I was talking with Ramon and Kyle about this. Quite a few other people. Everybody I know that's a wrestling fan has been talking to me about this. Dean Ambrose could possibly, according to WWE's, whatever, be wrapping up after WrestleMania 35 and not re-signing with WWE.
I'm having a hard time believing it because they just flat out said it. Yeah.
And my point, and like Ramon brought it up, and quite a few other people have, they're like, when in the history of WWE do you remember them ever commenting on somebody not re-signing a contract?
Especially on WrestleMania Season 2.
Yeah. It's just, they're basically saying, hey, this guy's leaving, don't expect anything from him for the next, couple months. Like, it's got to be a work. It absolutely has to be. And like Ramon says, it's like, it's smart because they're playing off of real life events. So, and people are buying into it. And I'll say I didn't, and then I did. And then after I thought about it, I'm like, it doesn't work. It's got to be a work.
I think he's going to try to go drop a pipe bomb segment or pipe bomb promo.
That'd be
great.
And
then Kenny Omega's going to interrupt him.
Maybe. I do agree with.
See, I knew I would lose you when I said that. I knew it.
Well,
Oh,
the only reason he lost me was because, I mean, that's the way you're going to debut Kenny? I don't know.
Why not?
What is he going to do with Dean? Have a match?
What can't he do?
I just.
Why wouldn't they be good?
It would be okay, I guess. I don't like him and Dean. I don't know. Both of them are somewhat cartoony sellers, so I just feel it would be like a cartoon match. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could be good. I do want to see, because one of the rumors I heard was they're thinking about, if they do manage to sign Kenny, is having him face Daniel Bryan at Mania for the belt.
I would be more down for that, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, there's still 2 pay-per-views to go between now and WrestleMania 2, so
Right.
remember that.
And I brought that up to Kyle, and he was like, well, then he would have to, like, earn his shot, obviously. Like, you know, they're not just going to hand it to him, because, I mean, they could, but, you know, I'm sure he'd have a match at Fastlane to kind of whatever. And he was like, and we'll be at Fastlane. And I was like, you're damn right we will be. So I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm fit, you know, I'm whatever. If Kenny shows up in WWE, great. If he shows up in AEW, great. I don't really, whatever. I'm fine with either or. As long as he's, you know, coming to a place where I can see him, you know, more frequently, then cool. But yeah, I think he'll do well wherever. But with Ambrose, it seems weird. I don't know. It's got to be a work.
Work, bro.
It's Swerve, bro. He is re-signing.
Swerve, bro. No, Swerve, bro. Kenny Omega's going to HCW, bro.
Wow. Yeah, and I don't know. Either way, moving on. This one isn't really a big thing, but do you know that the Ring of Honor commentator Ian Riccaboni? Riccaboni?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name. Either way, he has signed a multi-year deal with Ring of Honor. So I guess he's sticking around.
So, like 150 people will hear him now. Great.
That guy. Yeah.
Cares? That baby's got Michael Cole. That's all that matters.
Oh my gosh. You and I kind of had the same response with it. Kyle had a completely different response than you and I did to that, and Ramon. When I told him that statement about, Bruce Pritchard said, well, you know, when Michael Cole is gone and he's not doing commentary anymore, you know, people will miss him. And I'm like, what? The only way that is true is if they replace him with somebody way worse. And I don't know how you can get that way. I don't know. WWE.
I told you, Mike Adamle.
Yes, that's one of them. But WWE has a way of making me not give a damn about a commentator anymore. Like, Corey Graves has somehow gotten much worse. Renee Young has somehow gotten much worse. Like, I don't know. Like,
I love Corey personally, but
I do, but he has, like, he's much worse now than when he first started, and I think it's just the WWE style. I don't know. They have a certain way that they want their commentators to be, and they're just, I don't know. Renee Young, like, I don't know. She's went way downhill, and I think it's because she's got people screaming in her ear for 3 hours every Monday. I don't know. And Michael Cole just sucks. He's doing his best Vince McMahon on commentary impression, and it's a bad one. I don't know who the hell could miss him, but I don't know. Yay for Ian Riccaboni, though. Yeah, we get to hear him on public access every Saturday at midnight. Moving on to the UFC stuff, the Nevada Athletic Commission clears John Jones for the March fight with drug test stipulations. So I guess he's cleared
for one fight.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of the Nevada Athletic Commission, they handed out suspensions and fines for Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor. Khabib was suspended for 9 months and fined $500,000, retroactive to October 6th. The suspension
becomes 6 months. So
yeah, it could be reduced to 6 months if Khabib participates in an anti-bullying PSA campaign. He could be eligible to return in April, while a 9-month suspension would clear him for July. Oy vey. And then, well, I guess somebody else on his team got hit pretty hard. $25,000 fines handed out to teammates. I don't even, Abu Bakr.
I don't know either, so don't even ask me.
No, another Nurmagomedov and Zabara Turkogov, I guess, is my guess. Also not there at the hearing. ESPN's Ariel Helwani said that he doesn't expect Nurmagomedov to fight until those suspensions are up, which would put the lightweight title on ice for a year. Also, Conor McGregor was suspended for 6 months and fined $50,000 for his role in the UFC 229 fight. Yeesh. Fun. Khabib tweeted out, "Politics forever." So, of course, he's not to blame.
Even though he did it.
Yep. All right, anything else I missed?
Not that I know of.
Alrighty, well, then let's hit the bell. Match over. Well, then, you want to cover ECW now before we hit our first break?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, but yeah.
Well, let's get into it, shall we? Let's try to buzz through this. ECW's November to Remember 1995, ladies and gents. Oh, yeah. November 18th, 1995. It took place at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Can we just mention real quick how stupid of a name this is for a pay-per-view? November to Remember?
I don't hate it, actually.
I hate it. It's stupid.
Yeah, well,
especially for a company that's supposed to be extreme. It's the November to Remember with thumbtacks in your face.
Well,
oh my God.
Also, you hated most of the names for their events, so...
That's not true. I mean, well, a lot of them, but not...
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of them. CyberSlam, WrestlePalooza.
Heatwave was lazy as hell.
Yeah, Heatwave was stupid. I'll say that one.
CyberSlam. Oh, that was a great one.
Oh, hell yeah.
I liked Anarchy Rules and like Guilty as Charged.
What about Massacre on 34th Street?
That one was kind of decent.
That one made me laugh a little bit. Either way, attendance for this one.
WrestlePalooza, by the way. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
It sounds like a freaking sideshow at a carnival, at a circus.
Oh God, you're right. Yeah. So, well, it sounds like something where you have wrestling at the county fair. Like, there you go. WrestlePalooza.
Oh my God.
The attendance for this one, by the way, was 1,150. Still amazing.
That many, huh?
Yeah, it amazes me that you cram that many people into a bingo hall. A filthy bingo hall, I might add. No, it looks like nobody ever cleaned that place, ever. Joey Styles.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant to say about any ECW venue, by the way, but whatever.
Yeah. At least the Hammerstein looked somewhat clean. I don't know. Joey Styles starts off the event by hyping it up and saying that this is the greatest night of ECW action ever. Yeah, that's a really low bar, bro.
I'm sorry. I remember this event, and that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I texted you.
This is the greatest? Holy crap, what's the worst?
What was it? Hardcore Heaven. There you go. Now, this one, I will say, this is when I texted you while watching this, and I said, instead of ECW, their initials should have been ADD. My God, they were all over the place. Did you notice?
Oh my God!
Joel Gertner was the ring announcer for them.
Yeah,
like, he wasn't a character yet. He was just the ring announcer, and he's wearing like a tux, and he had his hair plastered down, and he was shaved.
And I think he weighed like 200 pounds less too. I think.
Yeah, I was like, that's because I heard the voice, and I'm like, I waited for well, and it never came, and I was like, well, that's a double entendre. But anyway,
I'm not touching that.
They announced that the special guest ring announcer for the opening match will be Bubba Ray Dudley, who, for all of you that don't know, was still in his stuttering phase at this point.
I want to talk about that suit he was wearing.
Yeah, he was wearing his normal, like, old school Dudley Boys attire with, like, a white tuxedo jacket and everything over it and a white top hat. That was something. But a whole slew of Dudleys pour out from the back. There's Sign Guy Dudley, Big Dick Dudley, Dances with Dudley, and there are a couple others that I just lost track. But Bubba gets on the mic, and he keeps on stuttering until Big Dick Dudley hits him, and he says, F this! And then Bubba hits Don E. Allen, then drops him with a powerbomb. And then the Broad Street Bully attacks him, and Bubba beats him down and drops him with a powerbomb as well. He then pins him for some reason, and he gets a 3 count. Even Joey was confused. He was like, this wasn't even a match. So, threw off the announcer even. Whatever. Next segment, we got Paulie Dangerously in the ring. I don't know if he's still Paulie Dangerously or if he's officially Paul Heyman at this point. Because later on in the show, Taz calls him Paul Heyman. So I don't know. But either way, he's in the ring. The lights go out. Everybody flicks their lighters on. And when the lights come back on, Sabu!
I'm shocked that all the Philly fans have lighters in their pockets.
Yeah, and I'm just going to safely assume that it wasn't all for cigarettes. Just saying. Anyway.
We're getting a tweet.
Oh, yeah, we are. When the lights come back on, it's Sabu! Fresh off of his WCW crap-ass match against Mr. JL. So he's back. The crowd, by the way, loses their minds. Just like blows the roof off of that bingo hall.
Oh, wouldn't you too if Sabu showed up?
Oh, yeah, you couldn't even hear him call out the numbers. Nothing? Really? You know? Okay, no, anyway.
I'm leaving that alone. I'm leaving that alone.
Anyway, they keep cutting back to Joey Styles talking into the camera, and it looks very unnatural and weird. Like, I think they spliced this together, and it just looks stupid.
I'm almost certain they filmed that in Paul Heyman's basement.
That's a pretty safe assumption. But next, we've got Jason Knight, who calls himself the sexiest man alive. He's taking on Conan, who is wearing a mask. And he actually...
And according to Joey Styles, you could get hives if you touch Jason, so...
I tend to believe him, by the way. Conan, if you guys, haven't seen what he looks like and you want a point of reference, he looked like a colorful version of Relic, which is killer spelled backwards, by the way.
Shut up!
You and I aren't the only ones who noticed that, by the way. Other people complain. They're like, why is it so important that every time they mentioned his name, they had to tell us this? It was so effing important that Mike Tenay had to beat it into our heads. We get it. It's not clever. So we're not the only ones who got annoyed with that. But the special guest referee for this match was Taz. Taz cut a promo before this and says ECW considers him an insurance risk because he just came back from injury. So they will not let him wrestle. However, they will let him be a referee. He's just out there to, quote, enforce his will. And then Jason runs his mouth to Taz, and Taz tells him to keep his effing hands off of him. By the way, they never once bleeped out the F word this whole show, and there's many F-bombs, but they frequently bleeped out the word ass. Just let that sink in. Oh,
that is the worst word.
Yeah, apparently. Right. Taz asks if everybody's ready to go, and then he socks Jason right in the face. Conan hits a crucifix bomb and pins him for the win. Taz makes a quick count. Oh, man. I didn't even know Conan was ever in ECW, but alas. He could have been in WWF making that Max Moon money, but, whatever. I guess that wasn't good enough for him. In his defense, I don't know which is worse. Max Moon or wrestling in the ECW arena. You're not going to touch that one either.
ECW arena.
Did you see Max Moon? That's a toss-up.
ECW arena.
All right, we'll go with that. I won't argue. This next match was, I guess it was a match. It's, I don't know what the hell is going on in ECW, man. It was El Puerto Riqueño versus Stevie Richards.
Main event anywhere in the country.
Sure. Stevie Richards comes to the ring, and the Blue Meanie is at ringside.
Oh, yes.
Making his debut. He is like a fan in the front row. He gives Stevie a present. Stevie opens it up, and it's a belly shirt that's airbrushed and says, "A flock of seagulls." Oh, my gosh. Stevie calls Meanie to ringside, and they hug. Joey Styles says, "They must be old friends who are apparently very attracted to each other." Ha! Gay jokes.
Yeah.
Richard,
Sure they ate that one up in the arena.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get to some good stuff later. Richards hits 2 Stevie bombs on his opponent and then pushes the Blue Meanie to the top rope. He, literally shoves him to the top rope. Meanie goes for a moonsault and El Puerto Riqueño moves. Stevie finally hits a super kick on El Puerto Riqueño for the win. Yay. This was something, man. And it took Joey Styles a while. He was like, "The Blue Meanie?" It's like, "Oh, I get it from Yellow Submarine, the Beatles." Sure. Oh my God. It was just, let's move on. This next match was actually pretty good. It was the Eliminators with Jason versus the Pitbulls with Francine. The Pitbulls and Francine are all wearing tight black leather. Didn't mind seeing Francine like that. It's really weird to see Saturn with long hair, by the way.
Yeah, I know. With hair, period.
No, I know. And seeing him with a ponytail, I'm like, what the heck? All right. It's amazing how we're about a half an hour into the show, by the way, before we get an actual real match. That last thing did not count. And this is actually a decent one. The Pitbulls are wrestling very Smash Mouth, and the Eliminators are doing some pretty cool stuff. They get the heat on Pitbull 2. This is when I texted you. I was like, how? Pitbull 2 is like a freaking monster. Yet you want me to think, oh, he's in trouble. Okay. Pitbull number 2, who, okay, for all of you that don't know, he's about the size of Ryback, I'll say. But he goes over the
guy.
Oh, yeah. Nothing says over like that big guy belt. But Pitbull 2 goes over the top rope and slices his elbow open. I hope he got checked for hepatitis after this. Pitbull I'm going to hell. Pitbull number 2 finally gets a top rope powerbomb on Saturn, and Pitbull number 1 gets the hot tag, taking on both Eliminators. Jason repeatedly gets involved in this match, by the way. Finally, the ref says, screw it, and just lets all 4 men do whatever the hell they want. Because it's ECW, no rules. Except when there are rules. I don't know. The Pitbulls hit Cronus with a guillotine bomb, but Jason breaks up the pin. Ref lets it go. Because why not? Pitbull number 2 takes him out. They hit a super bomb on Cronus for the win. Jason runs in and basically starts raping Francine. I'm not joking. He picks her up and damn near he molests her. I'll say that. Pitbull number 2 throws him into Pitbull number 1, who's holding a chair. And he clocks him. The Eliminators then take on take both Pitbulls out with total elimination, 1 for each. And then the Pitbulls get up in 10 seconds after both being hit with a finishing move, and then they just pose with their chains. I'm like, what is going on? No selling. I guess. We finally go on after this. We actually get another really good match. It's the best match of the night. It was Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio Jr. in a Mexican death match. For those of you unaware, the Mexican death match rules are you have to pin or submit your opponent, and then they have to, it's like last man standing rules after that. But either way, Psychosis keeps going for a flying leg lariat, repeatedly, and he keeps missing it. That's dude, stop. Mysterio secures the first pin with a Dragon Rana, but Psychosis stands right up. Psychosis gets the next pin off a moonsault. Mysterio sells his knee and beats the 10 count. Jump into the end here. There are quite a few pins in this. It's worth a watch, I'll say that. They fight all the way to the stage in the back. Mysterio throws a chair in Psychosis' face, dives off the upper stage, because there's a stage and then another stage. He dives off the second stage, hits a Hurricane Rana onto a chair, pins him, and then he runs back in the ring. Psychosis cannot beat the 10 count, so Mysterio wins. Psychosis was wearing a white outfit, by the way. It is filthy now, because that arena is disgusting.
You don't say.
Right. Mysterio leads the crowd in a chant of EC Dub after the match, by the way. So really playing to the crowd. And then, because we haven't gotten enough of this guy already, we see another frickin' Jason Knight sighting. He comes out to talk to Ray Jr. He runs down Conan, and then Ray starts to leave. But Jason brings him back. He asks to be Ray's manager and asks him to be his, quote, little supreme fighting machine. Ray turns him down. Jason calls him a little B-word. And Mysterio hits a spinning wheel kick on him and then a Hurricane Rana. Then the Eliminators rush in and beat up Ray with a powerbomb and repeated jumping leg drops. And then everybody's favorite worker, 911, runs in. And the Eliminators beat him up. But he breaks up their clothesline. Mysterio hits a flying Hurricane Rana on Saturn, and then 911 chokeslams both Eliminators. Ray celebrates by sitting on 911's shoulders. So, this was just a mess. I don't know. It was cool, I guess. But this next match, man, it was Sandman and the man who now goes by 2 Gold Scorpio, because he has 2 belts, with Woman. They were defending the tag team and television titles against the Public Enemy. The crowd chants, "Please don't go," at Public Enemy because for some reason they think they're leaving soon. When did they pop up in WCW, Greg? Do you remember?
Right after this.
Oh, wow. So they did go. How about that?
Yeah.
Yep. Here's where I wrote, they bleep out ass, but not the F word. Made me laugh. Also, on ECW shows, they bleep out F when they say WWF, but on WWE shows, they don't. What's the difference?
Just because.
Or if they say World Wrestling Federation, they bleep out Federation. But they don't on WWF. I don't know. It makes my brain hurt. Even people involved in the editing process said they don't understand it. Scorpio challenges Public Enemy to a dance-off. Joey Styles takes shots at Alex Wright because, why not? Scorpio dances first, Public Enemy's theme hits, and Joey Styles is shown doing the Cabbage Patch. Hooray.
Oh, my God.
Yep. Then Rocco Rock and Scorpio dance. Sandman does some really bad dancing, but the crowd gets into it. When Public Enemy turns their backs, they get jumped. Public Enemy sends Sandman and Scorpio out of the ring. Their theme hits, and then they wave their arms. Because, got to get that in. These guys fight all over and hit each other with everything. Joey Grunge gets bloody. Rocco Rock and Scorpio tear it up with each other. These are the 2 workers of the match. They actually did really well. The ring mat, by the way, is disgustingly dirty and patched up with duct tape. I know, shocker. Scorpio dodges a front flip senton off the top rope from Rocco, and Rocco hits Grunge right in the face. Sandman lays on Grunge for the win. Sandman, who is out of it, by the way, he got the tar beat out of him. He's laying on the mat and waving his arms back and forth like doing the Public Enemy dance. And then Scorpio pops open a bush light and pours it down Sandman's throat. And apparently that's like, he jumps up like Popeye getting his spinach. And then he starts dancing again. And then he drinks more beer. Man, this was main event, man. I'm telling you. Joey Styles talks about what we're going to see next, and they show a video of why Todd Gordon and Bill Alfonso are feuding. Alfonso was brought in by Shane Douglas to enforce, quote, law and order. Alfonso took Gordon out with a clothesline and then ran away. And 911 later chokeslammed Bill Alfonso. Bill later beat up Todd Gordon, and then Beulah beat up Bill. So that has led to Bill Alfonso versus Todd Gordon with special guest referee Beulah McGillicuddy. Main event anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the galaxy.
Hell yeah. 5-star match. Would have been 10 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Well, Beulah comes out first, and the crowd chants, "Show your T-words," I'll say. They chant it repeatedly. She does not, to the chagrin of the crowd. Alfonso jumps Gordon, and then they get into a shouting and shoving match with Beulah. Bill Alfonso gets into a shouting and shoving match with Beulah, and then Beulah slapped him. Alfonso punched her because that was cool. And then Gordon jumps Bill. They just throw hands. They start beating the crap out of each other. Gordon takes various weapons to Alfonso. Bill gets bloody, of course, because why not? Then Todd nails Alfonso with a frying pan, lays him out. And then Taz runs in, dressed like a referee still, and he socks Todd Gordon in the face. Then he lays Bill Alfonso on top of Todd Gordon and makes the 3 count before grabbing a mic. The crowd is pissed. And
oh yeah, wouldn't you be too if you spent $20 to go watch this crap?
$20? Wow, they got screwed, man. We're just taking way too many shots at this company. Or are we?
Not enough.
Taz complains that when Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, and Sabu got injured, all the fans cried and complained, but nobody cared when he got hurt. Taz says that Paul Heyman never paid Taz when he was hurt, and only Bill Alfonso cared about him.
Shoot, bro.
The crowd chants, "Suck his D-word." You all can figure it out. But they chant that repeatedly at Taz, because apparently if he's buddies with Bill Alfonso, that means he's got to suck him off.
Yeah.
Gotta love Philadelphia. Taz ends his F-bomb laced promo by saying that they don't give an F about you, and then he challenges a fan to a fight. This went on forever. This next one was interesting. I didn't see this one coming. Sandman's making his entrance because one of the stipulations was if they won that match earlier, he got to fight Mikey Whipwreck for the ECW title. Yes, Mikey Whipwreck is your ECW champion. Think about that. But that should tell you something about the state of this company. But as the Sandman is making his entrance, Steve Austin jumps him from behind, nails him with a cane multiple times, and then he hits the stun gun on the guardrail, and then he drinks a beer.
Superstar Steve Austin.
The extreme superstar Steve Austin.
My God.
They had to drive that home. But Austin drinks a beer, gets in the ring, and he pops up the double bird. You can see where and this is a few years before Stone Cold. Sandman looks like he's about to vomit as EMTs check on him. And then Joey Styles believes Steve Austin will face Mikey Whipwreck for the world title, and Austin grabs a mic and he says, he tells Mikey to get his ass out there. And he says, for a very short time tonight, your name is Eric Bischoff, to Mikey Whipwreck, which apparently means he's got to beat his ass. Because if there's one thing ECW loves to do, it's crap on WCW.
Yeah, the company is kicking the crap out of them.
Yep. But anyway, this match happens. Mikey Whipwreck defending the ECW title against superstar Steve Austin. Austin jumps Whipwreck and beats a tar out of him. The crowd chants Hogan, Hogan at Austin. Austin nails a big boot into a leg drop. And then he makes the cover, but Mikey kicks out and Joey says, that lame-ass crap isn't going to get it done here. Yeah, another shot. Austin beats 7 shades of crap out of Mikey. Mikey fights back. Austin finally hits the stun gun. Mikey kicks out again. Austin goes back and starts beating his ass. And then Mikey ends with a sunset flip, pulls Austin's tights down, showing his ass to everybody, and he makes the pin. Austin lets his ass hang out of his tights for quite a while he goes back to beating the crap out of Mikey. And then he pops up the double bird again and leaves. Security guards escort Mikey out, and the security guard looks like he couldn't stop anybody from doing anything. Looks like some dude they just picked up off the streets, which is a pretty good bet that they did. This next match was something. It was the Shaw, Hack Myers versus Sabu. Paulie dangerously introduces Sabu, and the crowd goes nuts. Sabu beats the holy high hell out of Hack for a while. Hack manages to nail a top rope facebuster for a near fall. Doesn't last long. Sabu goes back and to treating him like a sparring dummy. Hack finally gets the advantage, and when he takes a fan's chair out of the front row, the guy's jacket is still like stuck on the chair, so he's just beating Sabu with a chair and a jacket at the same time. Sabu pulls him off the top rope with a face first onto a chair. He lays Hack onto a table outside and then jumps off of a chair over the top rope, dives through Hack and the table. Somehow they're counting Hack out, so it's like no disqualification, but there's countouts. I was super confused. But he rolls back in, and Sabu lays him down and then comes off the top rope with a chair for the Atomic Arabian Facebuster. That makes it better when it's Atomic, Greg.
Hell yeah.
That gets him the 3 count. And then Paul helps Myers to his feet, and Sabu shakes his hand, showing that Sabu's a good guy, I guess. For now. Next up, Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer versus Cactus Jack and Raven. Funk and Dreamer are out first, and Terry grabs a mic, and he cuts a promo on Cactus Jack, calling him an a-hole, and saying that he'll always remember what he did to him. I don't know what he did to him. Do you know what he did to him?
Nope. I don't remember that match. I remember it being brutal, and I don't want to watch it again.
Who would? But Cactus Jack comes out wearing an airbrushed Dungeon of Doom t-shirt. It's got Shark, Kamala, and Zodiac on the front.
Original.
Yeah. And then he grabs the mic and says, "Why don't you stop wasting my effing time and get your old ass out here? Come on, Terry." It's kind of weird to hear Mick Foley drop the F-bomb, but whatever. I wrote way too many notes for this. I'm just going to skim through it.
I really don't want to hear them all. It's too bad.
Yeah. The match was just something. I will say they pulled like weapons out of the crowd. That was always been Tommy Dreamer's thing. Somebody brought an effing VCR with them. And Tommy Dreamer...
Well, that's new.
Yeah, it was. I'll say that.
That's more obscure than the watermelon.
Yeah. Well, Tommy just blasts the hell out of Raven with it repeatedly. Just busts him the hell open.
I remember that.
And then he grabbed the remote and beat him with that. Funk uses a snow shovel and a dustpan. Funk even beats up the referee with the dustpan for some reason. They never explain why.
Because he's senile. He's middle-aged and crazy.
I guess. And then Funk nails Raven in the junk with a golf club. That was cool. Cactus uses more practical weapons like a cheese grater and a chair. Oh, good lord. Raven chokes Dreamer with a toilet seat. Somehow that gets the crowd to chant ECF&W. That was something. Raven, by the way, is pouring blood. Funk is bleeding a little bit, but man, like, Raven's bleeding buckets. Cactus pulls out like a fork or a knife or something, and he's just stabbing and sawing all over Funk's body. It was sick. Eventually, Cactus gets his shirt ripped off, and he's wearing another shirt under it with Eric Bischoff's face airbrushed on the front, and the back says, "Forgive me, Uncle Eric." This was great. Dreamer comes in a bloody mess. He pulls Bischoff's face over Cactus's face, and he just beats the crap out of both of them like he's beating up Eric Bischoff. Funk uses a shopping cart on Raven. This goes on and on. Bill Alfonso and Taz finally come out. The referee was bumped at one point. Cactus covers Funk, and Funk kicks out. So Alfonso stomps on him on Funk, and Taz beats him up. Tommy stops Taz, and then Raven jumps Dreamer. Finally, Dreamer pile drives Raven onto a chair, and Funk covers him for the 3 count. It's finally over. Cactus Jack then attacks Tommy Dreamer and nails a double arm DDT onto a chair. Stevie Richards, who was out there earlier for whatever, he gets in, and Dreamer super kicks him. That shocked the hell out of me. Then Cactus Jack chokes Funk with a cable, and Dreamer rakes barbed wire across Raven's face, because it can't be ECW without barbed wire. This was something, man. Raven fights back and headbutts Dreamer in the junk. The show closes with Raven doing his pose, like with his face covered in blood and barbed wire wrapped around his head. That just epitomizes ECW.
ECF&W.
You're damn right. That was Yikes. I don't know if I'm, like, it was better than the last one, I'll say that, but that's not really saying much. I think it's about time for a break, Greg.
I'm already broke.
Yeah. We'll tell you all about some awesome podcasts besides this one on the Drama City Productions Podcast Network. When we come back, it's time for Survivor Series. Are you ready for that, Greg?
This one's actually not that bad compared.
It was okay. It was all right. It was saved by the last couple matches, but we'll get into that. We will be right back.
Interruption in progress. Now hijacking into ANS 2.0 immersion rig. Now simulating the amazing nerd show. Featuring comics.
And Batman's like, you're safe here and everything, but the Joker all of a sudden pulls out a gun and shoots himself.
Movies.
People fight with lightsabers. What the hell do you want? I mean, in every one of these movies, there's a lightsaber battle.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna rewatch it a million times.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, give me something more.
Wrestling.
That would be awesome. Oh my god, just a monster. Fans would be like, holy, what the hell's going on? What happened to Jericho?
Horror.
It starts off like any other like home invasion type of story, and then it just goes crazy.
And more.
Hey, this is Christian.
Hey, this is Damon.
And we are the Amazing Nerd Show.
Make sure to download us on all your favorite podcast platforms.
All right, we are here. It is the WWF's November event. We go.
Can we say that?
What? Oh, WWF? Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. You can't in ECW. We found that out. That gets bleeped. But it is WWF Survivor Series 1995. What?
So yeah, it gets bleeped, and yet we still have to see their wrestling.
Sure, we'll call it wrestling. The tagline for this is Teams of Federation Superstars Battle It Out. Who's fit to survive? Answer, none of them. Anyway, I'm just kidding. It was from November 19th, 1995, from the U.S. Air Arena in Landover, Maryland. The attendance was 14,500, so not a bad gate. The show starts off with The Fink introducing Mr. Perfect. The commentary team is going to be him, Vince McMahon, and Jim Ross. By God, did we have some interesting commentary from Mr. Perfect that we'll get into later. The first match was something. It was the Underdogs. Marty Jannetty, Bob Holly, Barry Horowitz, and Hakushi, who is now officially a jobber. They are going up against...
It sounds like the worst team in history.
Yep. Wait for this one. They're going up against the Body Donnas with Sonny and Ted DiBiase in their corner. They are Skip, Dr. Tom Pritchard, who is formerly Zip of the Body Donnas, Radford, whoever the hell that is, and the 123 Kid, who is the newest member of the $1 Million Corporation. My God.
Because, he fits on that team and not the other team.
Well, of course, yeah. Razor Ramon comes out and has to be held back by referees, and the Kid has to be held back by his partners. Apparently, they're feuding now, as we saw at the Inner House 4. They show a clip of the Kid.
Turned on Raw.
Right. Yeah, they showed a clip of the Kid as a special guest referee on Raw, helping Sid beat Razor and joining the corporation. Bob Holly pins Tom Pritchard, not Bruce, with a flying crossbody off the top, and then Skip rolls up Holly with a schoolboy to pin him. 123 Kid hits a super kick to the back of Hakushi's head, allowing Radford to pin him. Horowitz gets a lucky small package on Radford for the pin. And then 123 Kid makes a blind tag to Skip, knees Horowitz in the back, hits a leg drop, pins him. They keep cutting away, by the way, to show Razor getting more and more pissed in the back with other baby faces. Jannetty powerbombs Skip off the top rope, pins him. Then Jannetty gets in control of the Kid, and Sid randomly comes out. behind the referee's back. Sid hotshots Jannetty off the top rope, and that allows the Kid to pin him for the win. The Kid then celebrates with Sid and DiBiase. My final notes, I said, kinda lame. 1 3/4 Uncle Dave's.
Very lame.
Yep. We go to the back where Razor is throwing monitors and flipping tables. Fatu, Henry Godwin, and Savio Vega are all trying to calm them down. What a motley crew that was. We now go to Todd Pettengill, who is backstage with Jim Cornette, Mr. Fuji, Dean Douglas, Owen Hart, and Yokozuna. Cornette calls Razor crazy. Owen Hart says that he's ready for a fight, and Douglas tells Razor to get his head on straight. By the way, they're all teaming up later in the night. We'll get to that. Next up, this one was... yeesh. It was Aja Kong, Bertha Faye, Lioness Asuka, and Tomoka Watanabe, whatever. They had Harvey Whippleman in their corner, so they're the best. They went up...
Hell yeah!
They went up against Alundra Blaze, Chaparita Asari, Kayoko Inoue, whatever, and Saki Hasegawa. God, it was hard to get through that. Alundra pins Lioness Asuka. Mr. Perfect keeps making very sexist remarks throughout the match about they should all be home taking care of their husbands. It was kind of uncomfortable to hear. Basically, Aja Kong dominates most of this match. I'm not going to go through all the pins here, but Bertha proves that she's absolutely trash in the ring. I don't know why she was under contract. And the women's champion, by the way.
She was beefy.
I guess. Oh, she was literally beef in WCW. Alundra Blaze pins Bertha Faye after Bertha and Kong run into each other, and Alundra hits a bridging German suplex. Bertha no-sells it and instantly slides out of the ring and just walks away like she's perfectly fine, even though she just got pinned. Finally, Aja Kong pins Alundra Blaze off of a spinning back fist. Kong's music was very racist, starting with a gong. I laughed. Notes. Sucked! 1 Uncle Dave.
I said 0. It's terrible.
It blew really hard. Next, this effing segment. Todd Pettengill is in the crowd interviewing Mr. President, who is a Bill Clinton impersonator.
Boober.
Wow. Todd asks what he thinks about Bam Bam Bigelow, and Mr. President thinks that he's referring to the Flintstones. Todd says, people say your administration's out of touch. I don't know why. And then Bam Bam's pyro explodes, and the, quote, Secret Service dives onto Mr. President. This was stupid. And this wasn't the end of it either.
I know.
That was the worst part. Next, we got Bam Bam Bigelow versus Goldust. Goldust's entrance takes like 20 freaking minutes. It goes on so long that the theme restarts. When he finally takes his wig off, gold flakes rain from the ceiling. Goldust finally has normal boots, I noticed. And he's getting really into the weirdo character, rubbing himself and other things like he's high on ecstasy. Goldust dominates most of the match and wins off of a running bulldog. Notes, I said, decent but boring. 2 1/4 Uncle Dave's. And here we go. Todd's back with Mr. President in the crowd, and he's with Bob Backlund this time. Mr. President asks Backlund if he's going to join the race for president in 96. Backlund tells him to address him as Mr. Backlund and says his question is irrelevant. Then he stumbles over his next few lines, and while he talks about the government shutdown. Mr. President compliments, quote, Bob, keeps calling him, and repeatedly before we go back to the ring. This was painful. And no, we're not done. So get ready. Next is the Royals.
Deny.
My God, I did not inhale. What is the definition of is? Anyway, the next is the Royals, which is Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Isaac Yankem DDS. Yes, he's still there. Jerry Lawler and King Mabel. They have Sir Mo in their corner. they're taking on the Dark Side, which is Fatu, Henry O. Godwin, Savio Vega, and The Undertaker. They got Paul Bearer in their corner.
The Dark Side. Which of these three do not belong?
Yeah, all of them, except for The Undertaker. Oh, man. Since The Undertaker's face was smashed, he's now wearing a mask. Jim Ross says that Henry Godwin is Mr. President's favorite wrestler because they're both from Arkansas. And Vince makes a Whitewater joke. Wow. This just keeps getting better. Undertaker comes in and instantly eliminates Jerry Lawler. And then Isaac Yankem with a tombstone. Hunter Hearst Helmsley tries to run away, but Godwin threatens to slap him, so he gets up on the apron and Taker, choke slams him from the apron.
You're thinking about?
Yeah. Taker choke slams him from the apron into the ring, pins him. Mabel comes in, beats up The Undertaker for a while, but The Undertaker sits up and Mabel literally runs away. So the Dark Side wins. What?
Nothing.
But he runs away, or, as fast as he can runs. So the Dark Side surrounds Mo in the middle of the ring, and The Undertaker choke slams him. Notes, I said halfway decent match, but it was just made to put over The Undertaker to Uncle Dave's.
That's Sir Mo, by the way.
Yes, Sir Mo, excuse me. Sir C. Mo Green.
Good grief.
Todd Pettengill is in the back interviewing Jim Cornette, Ted DiBiase, Psycho Sid, and the British Bulldog. Cornette says that he's always had Davey Boy's back, and DiBiase said that no one better cross him. Then Shawn Michaels comes in with Ahmed Johnson and says, "Ladies, let's stop fighting. Because, yes, this is a team." Next to main event, it is Dean Douglas, Owen Hart, Razor Ramon, and Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji versus Ahmed Johnson, Shawn Michaels, Psycho Sid, and the British Bulldog with Jim Cornette and Ted DiBiase. When Douglas comes out, he does a cross between the click sign and the corna. I didn't know what the hell he was trying to do. The crowd blows for Razor. The Intercontinental title is back to having a black strap. I can't keep track of this damn thing. This is Ahmed Johnson's pay-per-view debut. The crowd gives him a pretty good pop. Mr. Perfect says that Johnson is as big as a house, and he says he's got the double garage to go with it. Oh, wait, that's his nose. Yay, racism. So we get sexism and racism for Mr. Perfect. Cool. McMahon geeks out.
Jack of all trades.
Yep. McMahon geeks out for HBK like Michael Cole used to for The Miz. Mr. Perfect says, when the boy becomes a man, and Vince says, oh, he's all man. This was really weird.
Wow. Yeah, he had a remark like that in the Goldust match, remember? He's like about 6'6", 260, he's a huge man. He goes, yeah, he's a big man, all right.
My God. By the way, he repeatedly drives home that word androgynous. Yep. Like, who the hell uses that practically?
Well, we learned from Bruce Pritchard that's his favorite word.
Yeah, and he said Dustin had to look it up when he got home. But anyway, Razor and Dean get into it. Razor punches Dean, allowing Michaels to do a schoolboy onto him and pin him. HBK accidentally hits Sweet Chin music on Sid, allowing Razor to get the pin. Then Sid gets in and powerbombs Michaels on his way out. Ahmed Johnson pins Owen Hart with a Pearl River plunge. DiBiase comes back out with Sid and the 1-2-3 Kid. Kid trips Razor and gets on the apron. Razor socks him. Then Bulldog hits Razor with a power slam for the pin. Ahmed body slams Yokozuna, and then the British Bulldog breaks it up. Michaels and Johnson double team Bulldog, knocking him outside. Michaels hits Sweet Chin music on Yoko. Johnson hits a running splash for the pin, and in midair, Johnson screams like a girl. It was weird. But they win. Notes, I said, best match of the night thus far. Interesting stuff, but I'm not a fan of the whole feuding partners thing. 3 1/4 Uncle Dave's. After the match, a dazed British Bulldog celebrates with Jim Cornette, and Shawn Michaels celebrates with Ahmed Johnson. Todd Pettengill is back to talking with Mr. President, who's got Sonny on his lap now. Sonny is feeding him popcorn, and Mr. President spills it accidentally down Sonny's dress, then asks if she's available for a cabinet position.
Oh, my God.
He says, stop by the White House and we'll check out some of those positions. And then Sonny says that she'd make the perfect undersecretary. The show pre-recorded comments of Bret Hart and Diesel mixing in clips of their past matches. They're really putting over how they both beat the tar out of each other every time they're in the ring together. And the big story is that Diesel wants to knock Bret out early using his power. Bret wants to absorb punishment and make the match go as long as possible, wearing Diesel out until he can out-wrestle him. So it is Diesel defending the WWF title against Bret Hart in a no-holds-barred match. The best thing of note right off the bat, I said Bret locks in a figure four and Diesel's repeatedly shouting mother effer multiple times. That was great. You couldn't hear it, but you could read his lips, just like when HBK looked at the camera, looked right at Hardcam and said, "Bullsh." That was great. The click was super mature.
It's attitude.
Yep. Hop into the end here. Bret gets on the apron and Diesel shoulders him. Bret goes flying through the Spanish announce table.
I believe that's the first time ever one of the tables that got broke in history.
Yeah, they put it over huge, and it looked brutal. I'll say that. Diesel gets him into the ring, goes for a jackknife, but Bret just flops down like dead fishes him. Diesel picks him up again, and Bret rolls him up for a small package for the win. Shocking. Diesel gets up and yet again visibly yells, "Mother effer." And then he drops...
Attitude.
That's attitude, pal. Then he drops Bret with a jackknife. He then poses with the belt. The crowd boos him. He leaves, and the referees wake up. I think he beats up a couple of referees as well. And he grabs the belt. They wake Bret up, check on him. Diesel's in full heel mode here as he leaves. My final notes, I said, they stuck to the story very well in the ring and on the commentary. These two beat the crap out of each other. It was cool. Cool to see Diesel turning heel. It was a shock ending if you didn't know it was coming with the roll-up. I gave it 3.5 Uncle Dave's. Pretty good match. I thought
one of their better ones.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I thought it was really good. So yeah, that was Survivor Series 1995.
I might say it was one of the better pay-per-views the entire year.
Yeah, it was. Good way to close out the year, although we're not done yet. We've still got In Your House 5, so yay. Not looking forward to that one, I'll say.
Nope, because it's bad.
Spoiler,
it sucks.
What do you mean? It had Arkansas Hogpen. All right? So I think you're wrong.
That's right. Yeah, I can't wait to watch that again.
You're damn right.
Talk about that again. No, I meant talking. I ain't watching that crap again. Hell no.
Oh, come on.
I'll claw my eyes out.
Loser. All right. Right. We're going to take a quick break after that. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this show up with a bang. Don't
lie.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up with a wet fart. Whatever.
It's not good. It's a lie.
But anyway, we're coming back with WCW World War III. I'll give my opinions on the show when we come back. But we're going to tell you about some other great podcasts here on the Drama City Productions Podcast Network. If you go to DramaCityProductions.com, by the way, we have added a lot of brand new podcasts within the last week that are really cool. So check them out. We're growing by leaps and bounds. DramaCityProductions.com. We will be right back for WCW World War III.
Sometimes you want to go where nobody knows your name. The Small Town Mentality Podcast with Ben and Austin.
What's up, guys?
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
It's your host, Ben and Austin from the Small Town Mentality Podcast. And if you're some real cool dudes...
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Oh, my bad. We got to keep it PC for this promo. You can follow us on Twitter at STM Pod, on Instagram at Small Town Mentality Podcast, and on
Facebook at STMPod. You can find us everywhere podcasts are played.
Yep. So if you're some real cool dudes.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
My bad, sir. I didn't mean to call you that.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I'll keep that in mind next time we have it up. Come check us out.
Small Town Mentality Podcast.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I didn't even say sir that time.
All right, we're back. WCW World War III, Greg. 60 men, 3 rings, 3 giants, 1 battle royal. Yay. That's the tagline, by the way. I didn't just, make that up, if you're all wondering. The date that will live in infamy.
It's just bad. Sorry.
Yeah. The date that will live in infamy, November 26, 1995. From the Norfolk Scope in Norfolk, Virginia, they were sold out at 12,000 people. I will say this.
12,000 people wanted to see this.
Well, a couple things. I didn't think the whole event sucked. I thought there was a few pretty good matches on the show. Not a lot, but a few. The actual World War III match, we'll get to that. But the Norfolk Scope, I thought, looked like a beautiful building. It was like a big dome. I thought it looked awesome. But, Mean Gene is interviewing Hulk Hogan, Sting, and the Macho Man to open up the show. Hogan's still in his all black, but he says that he's done, quote, walking on the dark side. And he rips off the black stuff to reveal his red and yellow. He then burns.
It's over. The dark side's over.
Yep.
I remember kind of getting giddy about that when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, as a kid, that's great. As an adult, you're like, you just changed clothes, dude. Whatever. But, yeah. He literally burns his black T-shirt in a burn barrel on the stage with them. And Sting says that he's glad Hogan's with him. Macho Man apologizes for, everything and not trusting Sting with the Lex Luger situation. And then Hogan continues to cut his promo while Sting is grabbing water and trying to put out the fire in front of them. Oh, man.
Man.
Hogan claims that the internet, quote, has the scoops, but he says that those 3 men are going to steal the belt, brother. Ugh. Yeah, that's setting up for the main event that was must-see TV, brother. I'm joking, but yeah. Well, then they show a clip from WCW Saturday Night, build up this next one, where Diamond Doll and DDP get into an argument during an interview, and the doll just walks away. She eventually comes back and says that she's putting herself on the line in DDP's match against Johnny B. Bad, because the TV title is clearly more important to DDP than her. So, we're going to see Johnny B. Bad versus DDP. Cool. At first, I wasn't super excited about this, but it was a really good match. But it's for the TV title and for the Diamond Doll. DDP comes to the ring, treating Diamond Doll right for once, kissing her hands and putting his arm around her and all that. He also brings Johnny's confetti cannon with him. But Johnny, not to be outdid, brings fireworks shooters to the ring with him. Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
This was something else. DDP shouts at Kimberly at one point to hold up the 10 for him. She refuses. For those of you that don't know, she used to hold up, cards like she was scoring him. But, however, when Johnny calls for it, she holds up a 10+. Good Lord.
What the hell about him was a 10?
Have you seen those abs, Greg? And his tan was impeccable.
I think he was Puerto Rican. I think that might have been natural.
Whatever. Still, he was an olive skinned fella.
Okay.
Johnny hits the bad mood outside, and then hits a slingshot leg drop inside for the win. Kimberly looks shocked and confused, but she gets in and hugs Johnny. My final notes, I said, Johnny B. Bad is always great for a hot opener, and DDP is really coming into his own. Great match, 3 Uncle Dave's.
He opened every pay-per-view.
I know, it was weird, but he had really good matches. Like, I didn't like Mark Merrow. And then, like, if you go back and watch these matches, they were really good, man. Like,
well, Dusty Rhodes sprinkling that magic dust or something. I
guess. I wish he would have stuck around, because he did just screw all in WWF. And he lost his wife. So, Mean Gene Okerlund is on the stage saying that they have a new update on the WWF steroid scandal on If You Call the Hotline. Man.
Was that over already?
That's been over. He was like, you might have thought it was over, but we have some updates. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder they called you Scheme Gene over on WWF.
Not to speak ill of the dead.
I know. Hey, made him a lot of money, I'll say that.
He said it himself. Huh?
Yep. Found money for WCW. Johnny B. Bad gets interviewed with the doll, and he says he'll treat her like with some respect. And then he says that he wants her to be his manager, but he says he'll give her time to think. And he says that she needs to fulfill her dreams and achieve her goals. Really Of course, yeah. Well, you're setting up for
I mean, like, achieve your dreams and goals of what? I mean, what are... There's no women division or nothing. What the hell can your goals be there?
Posing nude. She did that. So, there you go.
So she got... Okay, so she did it. Good for her.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm going to be seeing some proof, by the way, but...
Throw it into your Google machine. Oh, God.
Can we talk like that on here?
I'm going to. I don't give a crap. I might get a cease and desist, but whatever. Either way.
Can we make that into a shirt?
What, cease and desist? Maybe. I've got one of those. You got it for me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, right? I gotta find that. Either way, after, Johnny's really setting up for his life after wrestling, by the way, with all these promos. Johnny says that he's ready for World War III, and Kimberly says that she's really proud of him. Whatever. By the way, they finally started calling her Kimberly and not just the Diamond Doll. So she's got a name, finally. Next up, this effing match, man. It was Big Bubba Rogers versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which is already a
Hell yeah!
It's already a barn burner there. But they're in a taped fist challenge. The reason for this...
Yeah? You took a pause like that's bad or something.
Yeah, let's get into it. Duggan jumps Rogers from behind halfway down the ramp because that's what baby faces do. Then he just beats the hell out of him. Rogers, by the way, he actually taped his fists. Duggan taped up his entire arm. I'm like, what the? Are you CM Punk? But Heenan says...
He's nuts, say that.
Yeah, he was. Can you imagine a pipe bomb from Jim Duggan?
He smokes a pipe with the iron cheek, I know that.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. I guess Heenan says that Duggan's grandmother was a taped fist champion. This was not a joke. This was like a real thing. And then Shivani says that Duggan traced his taped fist roots back to Ireland. This is
oh my God.
This is a real effing thing that they're trying to put this crap over and make this make sense. Duggan dominates and then Bubba comes back. He tapes Duggan to the top rope, then beats the crap out of him. Eventually Duggan gets free and the match becomes even. Duggan rips Bubba's shirt because we all wanted to see that. Not to speak ill of the dead, but come on. And then what's going to make this match better, Greg? VK Wall Street comes to the ring with a chain. For those of you that don't know, it's IRS. And the VK was for, you could figure it out. But he comes to the ring with a chain in his fist. Oh, yeah. And Duggan punches him, but he throws Duggan hits him with a 2x4. My bad. And Wall Street still manages to toss the chain to Bubba, who wraps his fist in it, punches Duggan, knocks him out. The ref didn't see, so he gets the win. Notes, I said...
Unfortunately, we all saw.
Yep. I did say it was kind of brutal in multiple ways, but it wasn't very good. Two Uncle Daves. and I might have been being generous.
Might have.
Yeah. Ric Flair's being interviewed by Mean Gene. Rick is cheered like a god, by the way. But a handful of little stingers are actually booing him. Rick shouts through the entire promo, saying that he's going to beat Sting. Flair says that it was his master plan to get all of his rivals in the ring together and watch him win the WCW World Heavyweight title in the World War III match. Okay, Rick. It was nobody's master plan to watch this, but whatever. Next, you know all those Asian women that we just saw at Survivor Series? This was much better. Much, much better. We got Cutie Suzuki, real name, and Mayumi Ozaki taking on Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto with Sonny Ono in their corner. So you know who the heels are. The bad thing about this...
Heel, whatever.
Sonny Ono is a heel because he came out of a Japanese box. But anyway, it was a little messed up where the chyron below that said their name, there was like a cartoon plane that flew over, dropped a bomb, and then their name would come up. These are Japanese women. Just let that sink in. Somebody didn't think.
Nothing wrong with it's a little history thing, a little history buff.
Sure. Yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm going with. I'm sticking with it.
Sure. Bull Nakano is wearing a blue Ric Flair robe. Like, it looks like she's cosplaying as Ric Flair. Hokuto is wearing some big pink robe with like a Japanese mask on it. It's all feathery. The bigger heels got a lot of the heat right away, and against the smaller baby faces. The babyface women get a single leg crabs on both the heels at the same time. The crowd actually pops for this. Eventually, Mike Tenay, by the way, keeps spouting off facts that mean absolutely nothing to anybody. Nobody gives a damn. But he's just feeding us this crap like we care. I know, I'm picking on Mike Tenay, but seriously, who gave a damn? The baby...
It's killer spelled backwards.
Oh my god. The baby faces have miscommunication and nail each other. Not that way. Get your mind out of the gutter. Nakano...
I didn't say anything.
I know you didn't, but I'm talking to our listeners because I know what they're thinking. Nakano hits one of them with a power bomb, and the other takes her down. Baby faces hit about 6 double stomps between the two of them on Nakano off the top rope, like one right after the other. It was stupid. And then Bull still kicks out. Back and forth action for a while. The heels hit a doomsday device on Ozaki. Nakano finally pins her with a top rope leg drop. My notes, I said, besides the lack of selling, this was a really good match, very exciting. 3 3/4 Uncle Dave's. I really enjoyed this one.
I forgot what that match would look like. I haven't seen it forever.
I will say...
It's like the one I forgot.
Yeah, I will say, if you guys have to, especially after watching that god-awful women's match on Survivor Series, watch this. Like, 2 totally different styles of women's wrestling from Japan. And not to get, like, sexist about it, but these women are a lot better on the eyes than the ones they had in WWF.
And I'm not touching that.
No, you know what? Never mind. I'm moving on. Mean Gene is pimping the hotline again before calling Jimmy Hart and Lex Luger in for an interview. The crowd erupts with boos. Like, they hate Luger and they hate Jimmy Hart. Luger claims that he's the flagship of WCW and he's going to be the world champion tonight. Next, we got more Japanese wrestlers. We got Kensuke Sasaki defending the U.S. title. He's got Sonny Ono with him again, by the way. He's defending the U.S. title against Chris Benoit, who is a brand new 4 Horseman. The Hooters girls are in the front row. One of them is shown, and Bobby Heenan completely loses his train of thought. I did too. They keep putting over how Bobby Heenan tried to sell half of WCW to Sonny Ono, but he wasn't legally allowed to, and for some reason Sonny got kicked off of WCW TV. However, Sonny gets on commentary and says that they're being compensated at Starrcade somehow, We'll get to that at Starrcade. Sasaki hits a big lariat and then a Northern Lights bomb for the win. Notes, I said, this was a great Japanese-style match between these two. Really enjoyed it. 3 1/4 Uncle Dave's. So far, these matches are pretty decent. But just as I say that, we get this. Mean Gene interviews the Taskmaster, Jimmy Hart, and the Giant. Yay. Gene tells the Giant that his father would be embarrassed if he knew how the Giant was acting. Keep in mind, they were pretending that Andre was his dad, for all of you that don't know. Taskmaster says that the Dungeon of Doom will dominate tonight. Jimmy Hart calls Hogan, Sting, and Savage the Three Stooges. And Taskmaster says that it doesn't matter what the members of which member of the dungeon wins tonight. The Giant ends his promo by saying, "Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm gonna kick your butt back to Kalamazoo." I'm not joking.
What the hell?
He effing said this. I'm not joking. I was stunned. They show a build-up for Macho Man versus Lex Luger, showing that Macho Man never trusted Luger since Lex debuted on Nitro. Mean Gene interviews Macho Man. Mean Gene asks, "Are you jittery?" Savage says, "I'm always jittery." Ain't that the truth? Savage says that
that guy makes coffee nervous.
Right? Can you imagine if he drank espresso? My God. He'd be on fire. Savage says that he is the total package, and Okerlund asks how Macho Man's arm is, and Savage says that he's at 1,000,000%. Next, we got Macho Man versus Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart in his corner. Macho beats Luger all over the damn place. When Savage goes for the elbow drop, he hits it. Jimmy Hart distracts the referee, so Savage can't get the win. Luger gets the torture rack locked in outside of the ring until Macho passes out. Luger rolls him in and locks in an armbar, and the referee calls the match because Savage is passed out. But Luger will not release it. Finally, Sting comes in, and he asks politely, and Luger breaks it, and then he leaves. I'm not joking. Then they put over how Luger is a heel, but he's still BFFs with Sting, and they'll be partners on Nitro. Super confusing. Notes, I said, nothing really special. It was decent. 2 1/4 Uncle Dave's. But next, we got a hype video showing the Sting and Ric Flair feud. Shows Flair.
Stay hype.
It shows Flair getting into it with Arn Anderson and Flying Brian, asking Sting to help him, and Sting warns Flair not to, quote, swerve him, or he'll leave him for dead. And then Flair eventually swerves him. So, there's that. But, so we get Ric Flair versus Sting, which is never a bad thing. Sting dominates for a little while. Sting gets the advantage for a minute, or Flair gets the advantage for a minute, but Sting takes over. He dominates most of the match. They keep going from ring to ring. They don't explain this. I assume it's a teaser for Nitro, but Sherry and Colonel Parker come out, making out on the stage and watching the match. I don't know. The end of the match is Sting drops Flair and locks in the Scorpion Deathlock for the submission win. Notes, I said, it was Flair versus Sting. What else can I say? It was a great match. 3 1/4 Uncle Dave's. So another good match on this card. My God. This. They show a video package for Jimmy Hart turning on Hulk Hogan and joining the Dungeon of Doom with Lex Luger. After Jimmy got Hogan disqualified at Halloween Havoc, he came out on Nitro and said that with his power of attorney, he signed the Halloween Havoc contract for Hogan, and it stipulated in the contract that if Hogan got disqualified, he'd lose the world title. However, the WCW Championship Committee voted that the title would be held up at World War III, and that the Giant was not the rightful champion. And I wondered, what the hell are contracts for in this company? Couldn't Jimmy and the Giant...
wiping your ass?
I guess. Couldn't Jimmy and the Giant sue over this crap? Yeah. But then they put over that in the World War III match, there would be one Giant per ring. In one ring, it's the Yeti. Yes. The
Yeti!
There you go. In another ring, there's the Giant. And in the third, it's Hulk Hogan, who I guess qualifies as a Giant.
Well, where's Loch Ness?
That's a coming, Greg. Don't get ahead of our crap here. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews Hulk Hogan next, who says that he smells the stench of that stinky giant. Eric Bischoff actually said on his podcast he called him the stinky giant in the backstage because Paul White liked the chain smoke. So this was a real thing. But he says that he will regain the World Heavyweight title tonight, and friendships aside, he'll go right through the Macho Man and Sting tonight if need be. Then Hogan claims that this is the most dangerous match in the history of professional wrestling, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I guess he missed Chamber of Horrors.
Yeah, wait till the Yappa Indian strap match, brother. Sorry. But next we have the 3-ring 60-man World War III Battle Royal for the WCW title. Because there are 3 rings and 60 men, there are 3 broadcast teams. Ring 1 is Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan. Ring 2 is Eric Bischoff and Dusty Rhodes. And Ring 3 is some guy named Chris Cruz and Larry Zbyszko. As confusing as that sounds, they actually did it pretty well. They did it about as well as you could do it for that. So, commentary wasn't awful. For some reason, the Yeti now looks like a giant ninja.
Yep.
What the hell? So, first
because apparently the guy couldn't wrestle with the wraps on or something like that.
So you make him a ninja? How is that? I realize that a mummy isn't a Yeti, but how is a ninja a Yeti? Like, what the hell, man? Whatever.
Don't question it.
A metric crap ton of pyro shoots off before this match starts, by the way. Like, the pyro blows all over the place, and then the bell rings and they start the match. It was kind of cool. But then that damn bell had to ring. The Yeti is the first giant to be eliminated, so he was useless. The entire match is on a 3-screen split screen, and I can't keep track of anything. Ring 2 is the first to be cleared, so the Giant goes into Ring 1 with Hulk Hogan. Ring 3 is the next to be cleared, so everyone goes into Ring 1 to make it a 20-man battle royal in one ring. While Sting and Luger are trying to eliminate the Giant, Hogan dumps them both out, and then he slides outside under the bottom rope. However, the ref didn't see it, and he thinks he got eliminated, so he declares Randy Savage the new world champion. Hogan argues with Randy Anderson, the referee, and with Randy Savage for quite a while as Mean Gene Okerlund gets in the ring. Notes, I said, chaos, weird ending, too much going on, 1.5 Uncle Daves. And I might be super generous there. Wrapping
I really
up,
thought the Yeti was going to win it when I first saw it.
He should have. I mean, just look at him. That's a man right there. Or, well, that's a Yeti, but whatever.
Real quick, he would go on to wear, like, jean shorts and wrap his shirt around his waist like he's in high school and riding a skateboard. Do you remember that?
Yep. You talk about when he was just Ron Reese in The Flock?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't remember that? Carrying Billy Kidman on his shoulders? Yep. But the Macho Man is finally declared the winner and new world champion. Hogan is still arguing his cause. Kind of looks like a dick. Hogan is going insane. The decision is actually booed, by the way. Savage says he didn't see anything, but he says, I live by what it is what it is. Can you handle that? And Hogan still argues, and he pulls the fans.
So clearly Hogan can't handle that.
I guess. Savage says that he doesn't want a dark cloud over his title reign and says that he wants to see the film. Hogan says on Nitro he'll show him the film. So there's a teaser.
That's because Hogan has to show him the film.
Well, yeah. If he didn't see it, it didn't happen, Greg. He's got to confirm it himself.
Oh, God, that sounds familiar.
Right? Yeah, Dayton. But Hogan then congratulates Macho and says that he still needs to see the film and he deserves a shot at his belt. The end of the show, they both shout, "Oh yeah," and celebrate together. So that was that. Hooray. All in all, it was a weird show. You ready to tease?
Epic show.
You ready to tease? Next week is our last episode of 1995, man. Can you believe it? Seems like we just started this damn thing.
Oh, no. Think of the memories. Leave the memories alone.
Oh, man, we should have. We really should have. But it's been fun. Sort of, I guess.
Has it?
Maybe. Next week.
We love torturing people. That's what we do.
That's what we do! But, anyway, next week, it's our final episode, episode 9. We are covering WWF In Your House 5 and WCW Starrcade. Yay. And no, Hulk Hogan is not at Starrcade. Spoiler. Weird, but it is what it is. And if you all listen next week, we will reveal our next subject at hand. We're going to be taking a journey through another subject, and I'm very excited for it. So...
Is it, Never mind.
No. Whatever you're thinking, no.
I was going to say a history of Raven's flock, because that's what I wanted to do.
God, no. We're not going that bad. We're actually doing something good next time. Kind of.
Oh.
But thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
I hope you all had as much fun as I did. We'll see you all next week. Later.
Later.
This has been a Drama City production.